Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Carrow Road, where the sun is still shining. It's still bitterly cold, and Norwich City have won here this afternoon by 5-1. And after maybe what we saw in the week and this week in total, defeated Sheffield United without a shot on target, defeat to Leeds without a shot on target, to record 8 of them, to score 5 goals, and to just inject a little bit of optimism back into this season and back into what they're producing. It was much needed and a very enjoyable afternoon, although in truth, I'm not quite sure. It might be actually one of the weirdest 5-1s I've ever experienced in my life, but no complaints here. Let's start at the beginning and work our way through what was an epic afternoon at Carrow Road. Norwich City made 2 changes. It was the first start for Lucian Mahovo after what's been, I've been really impressed with 2 cameo performances at Sheffield United and Leeds. He got thrown in today ahead of Ben Krizene. We'll come back to his performance. And Oscar Schwartau made up the midfield 3 as well, with McLean and Marcondes in there as well. And I think in truth that gave it, certainly pre-game, more of a balance to Norwich City's team, a little bit more of maybe an attacking edge to what we've seen with Schwartau in the middle. Thought he was outstanding, by the way. And yeah, Swansea are in a little bit of a bad place. They've had a really difficult January. Luke Williams under a little bit of pressure after some pretty bad defeats. I think this is their biggest defeat of the season. And I think it'll be more the manner of it, probably, that the Swansea fans are disappointed with. But for the first 45 minutes, it was a terrible game, to be completely honest with you. It was a game, certainly from Norwich City's perspective, that was devoid of quality. I thought they looked leggy. I thought they looked mentally and physically fatigued. And I think that's probably natural, given the amount of travel they've had, given how thin on the ground they are in terms of bodies, where they're at. And I think you could see pretty noticeably today how there was not quite the same willingness to go and press Swansea with the intensity and with the height that maybe they have done in other games, in previous games, and with against other opposition. And that probably gave Swansea a little bit more of the ball, and probably coincided with Norwich City really lacking rhythm in some of their play and some of their passing. And it was bad touches, it was bad decisions, it was bad passing angles being made. It was quite static at points, and it was just a really sort of stodgy performance, to be honest, where they didn't produce kind of the slick possession-based game that we sort of associated with them, and just felt very flat. And it felt flat inside Carrow Road. It was quiet. It was, there was not much to be excited by on the pitch, and there wasn't much sort of going on off the pitch either. And that probably coincided with what was 44 minutes really of not dross. That's overreaching it, but just. Yeah, it just felt kind of at that stage like 2 mid-table teams kind of, like a proper slugfest, really. And I think if you'd have asked most people inside Carrow Road on about 40 minutes how this game was going to pan out, I think they'd have said it was a scruffy 1-0 either way, or a 0-0. Swansea probably had the better chances before Josh Sargent opened the scoring. There was a couple of free headers. That was a theme throughout the afternoon. Remember Ronald having a cross that just went over his head. There was a shot that he curled wide. There was a save from Angus Gunn from close range from a corner. So Swansea probably created the better. But Norwich City did find a burst, a bundle of energy just before the break. Norwich scored at really good times all afternoon, to be honest. And that came from Oscar Schwartau. It's a brilliant, they would get lost. So it was a brilliant touch from Hernandez to send Schwartau forward. Even though we're going to talk about probably the 2 bits of quality that followed, it was Oscar Schwartau's burst and ability to get Norwich City up the pitch under pressure that probably creates this goal for them. Does really well to then just poke it around the corner to Marcondes, who, by his own admission, and I know him, he's quite an honest guy. I think he would admit that it's not been his best game. He's played a lot of minutes. I think he looked knackered all afternoon, to be honest. But it was one brilliant bit of quality where it was a reverse pass through to Josh Sargent, and it's a brilliant finish. And all of that frustration and all of that angst at being out for so long, and probably watching on as his colleagues struggled to create chances and struggled to score goals in recent games, felt like all of that was behind that shot, and it was pure power that beat Lawrence Figueroa to put Norwich City ahead. And I think what I want to talk about around this goal is probably a little bit of the conversation around shots on target. And I spoke a little bit about this after Leeds. But I think this is a really good example of probably what Johannes Torp was trying to explain, where the ball breaks to Marcondes. He's got space ahead of him. It opens up. I think most the Barkley will to take a shot. And it was done. And that, if that was a shot that, I don't know, we were caught or the shot wasn't quite good or it flew anywhere, that, could have been a shot that ended in a shot on target. Instead, what he did was played an extra pass, and the quality of the chance that he created with that pass was probably double. I'd need to know exactly in terms of expected goals, but it's significantly increased in terms of the quality of chance that Josh Sargent got. And this is where I think Johannes Torp was getting at, in terms of you don't need lots and lots of shots on target. You don't need to pepper the goal with shots. What you need is high value opportunities that open games up, that put you in the lead. And this is a fantastic example of it, where Marcondes, as I said, just took the right decision. Brilliant movements from Sargent to sort of peel off to the right-hand side. I think that's something that's really improved in his game over the last 12, 18 months, is that ability just to peel away from defenders and time his run. And then, a sharp finish into the back of the net. And that burst, that lead, I think gave Norwich City a lot of confidence heading into the second half. They had actually an opportunity after that as well. Hernandez created one for Marcondes, which he put into the side netting. So it could have been 2-0 before half-time, which would have been incredible, really, considering the level of performance and probably the fatigue that it looked like Norwich City had within them. They made 2 changes at the break. Kellen Fisher, who picked up a little bit of a knock on his foot, he was replaced. Onel Hernandez was replaced. And Jack Stacey came on. I thought he was excellent in the second half. Antti Sienats came on. I thought he was really good as well. And for portions, for really till the third goal, I would say, this was a real slog for Norwich. Swansea were in the game. They were causing them problems. I think the goal they score is an excellent goal, really. Poor defending, and probably an example on both flanks of maybe Norwich City fullbacks being left a little bit exposed. I thought Lucien Mahova at that stage looked like his race was run, and I'm sure the adrenaline and the effort that he put into today probably caught up with him slightly. Josh Key gets on the outside, brilliant crossing. Liam Cullen nods into to his goal. I think from there, it probably felt like it was Norwich on the back foot, because they were trying to soak up pressure. As I said, it was more of a low to mid block than what we've seen Norwich defend with. They're usually a bit more proactive, a little bit more aggressive in terms of their off-the-ball work. They weren't that today, and I think that's a reflection of a very small group of players being pushed again and again through a game, and just trying to overcome that mental and physical fatigue. And this, I think, was probably the key for Norwich City all afternoon. It was scoring goals at really good times. Less than a minute later, Antti Sienats pickpockets the defender. And again, talk about Sargent's run. He goes from in to out to that right side, peels off, creates an angle. And then when you get Josh Sargent in those positions and you create those high-value opportunities for him, his quality in front of goal and his finishing quality is devastating. Across the goalkeeper, into the back of the net, 2-1. And that gave, I think, Norwich a massive boost, because I think what they didn't need this game to become, and this probably feeds in maybe to later in the game, was one where they were having to absorb pressure, because if you've played the game, when you're tired, when you're fatigued, when you're mentally kind of struggling to get through games, and you ride out 5-minute spells, the last thing you want to do is to be without the ball and to be camped in your own half, trying to cling on for dear life, because that's how you make mistakes and errors. And there was a lot of that in possession for Norwich today. There was a sloppiness. There was maybe not quite that quality of touch that we've seen, and that probably created the first half that we saw. Maybe with the exception of Oscar Schwartau, who I thought was just excellent. And actually, the third goal comes from his work, albeit maybe a pass that went slightly wrong. Does really well to get Norwich City out of a tight spot on the right. Goes to switch the play, gets the pass wrong. Josh Key makes a really bad error. Dobbin steals possession from him. And this is probably maybe the element of Lewis Dobbin so far at Norwich City that has been missing, that connection between the pace and the quality in front of goal, that decision-making. Really good, just kept travelling with it. And I think when you get pace and you get that running directly, vertically at defences, it's really difficult to defend, particularly when you're already losing and maybe your confidence has gone to an extent. But that is such an easy finish to get wrong, to put too much power on it, to try and place it in a slightly different way. To calmly slot that into the far corner. And it was that third goal really that killed the game off, because Swansea from there completely imploded, I thought. The third goal was bad. The fourth one was even worse. It's a clip ball from Callum Doyle really, after some sort of work to try and get the ball back for Norwich City. And it almost felt like he'd done it just to relieve some pressure, just to get the ball up the pitch, to Norwich to get themselves up the pitch. Antti Sienats does really well. He's taken a lot of criticism. This is probably because of Josh Sargent's situation, mainly what he's not been able to do enough, which is come on to games fresh and inject maybe some energy into them and some positivity into them. And sort of channel that rawness in a good way rather than perhaps what we've seen from the start of games. It does really well. Luke Williams felt it was a foul. I think it would have been soft if I'm honest, but does really well not to give up on that, to win the ball, to round the goalkeeper, to make it 4-1. And Norwich's fifth goal and their third in a 10-minute spell between 76 and 86 was the same route really. Doyle with a long pass, seeing that's peeling off the defender. Brilliant lobbed finish. It would have been excellent if that would have been the one that hit the underside of the bar and bounced in, but it bounces down, and Marcondes brilliant sort of following in just to chest it into the back of the net and make it 5-1, and make this a really enjoyable afternoon. And it was good. I think today you could see the difference probably in depth a little bit, and we're not talking majorly. Norwich haven't had a major boost in terms of players coming back, but that ability to have Jakob Sorensen on the bench, to have Jose Cordoba on the bench, to be able to bring Jack Stacey into a game, Antti Sienats into a game, it brings a stability of performance. You don't see, I think, what we've seen recently where Norwich City are having to risk players for longer. They get fatigued. Then you're bringing players on, and that dip in performance follows. So it was, really, really pleasing to see that stability kind of remain, and they were able to sort of use that as a baseline to build on. But yeah, I mean, Swansea were for the last half an hour absolutely horrendous. It's hard to sort of say, sort of diagnose that when you haven't seen them every week. But the 5-1 is as a reflection of probably just a 10-minute spell where I felt they completely checked out. And it's not often you can say that about a team, but I thought they gave up, if I'm honest with you, after that third goal. They were well in the game for 67, 70 minutes of this, and should have been. I think Norwich deserved to win the game in the end, but obviously they've won 5-1. But even at that stage, I think they edged it. To then allow a game to unravel and to implode in the manner they did is completely unacceptable, particularly for those fans who, I think left at 3:00 this morning from South Wales on a car journey. It's completely unacceptable. But great from Norwich perspective after the week that they've had. So yeah, really, really good day. I think I wanted to speak about Oscar Schwartau because it's incredible to think that he is only 18. The performances I think that he's produced all season, I think that we've seen flashes of his quality. He's quite a rangy player. He uses his body so nicely to protect the ball. He's really neat in possession. He's tidy. But there's a real quality about him as well. And that first goal kind of encapsulated it for me. That ability to stride up the pitch and create something, and that willingness to create. And today was really, I think, the first time we've seen him in a central midfield area, which is where I think he's best, where Yannis Torres feels he's best. And it's been quite an interesting development. I think he's almost found his route into the team off the right-hand side. Don't think he's looked as effective there, but certainly in kind of that hybrid 8 position that he was in today, where Marcondes dropped a little bit deeper, gave him more license to maybe be the runner, be the connector that Norwich City have lacked probably in the last 2 games. And I thought he was excellent, just in terms of his quality, his presence, his ability. You look at basically the opening 2 goals, I think, have effectively come through him. Whether they've resulted in an assist or not, then that's the way it is. But I just thought he was excellent. And to think, he's younger than Uriah Jeje, who's on the bench today. Just a terrific young talent that Norwich City have on their hands. And I think when you try and think about what that could look like in 2 years, 3 years' time, and he's still a young lad, you don't want to overhype it and you don't want to over talk about it. But I think he's a really, really exciting prospect, and one to really watch, because it feels to me, and I felt this all season really, that he could explode at some point. I really think that he has that ability to explode and to, really kick on a level. And if he does that, then he's going to be a very, very exciting player very quickly for Norwich City. And speaking of that, I think Lucien Mahovo thought he looked nervous, and I spoke to him after the game, and he admitted there were nerves there. But I thought he settled into it really nicely. We saw some of those passes that have really attracted him to Yannis Torres in the 21s, where there's that intent, that willingness to play forward, that probably ability to really fizz a pass in that breaks lines, that gets Norwich up the pitch, and then they can play. I really liked his performance there. I thought he was good. I think, as I said, it's difficult as a young man in these circumstances, but what a rise. I mean, April 2024, he was playing in the National League North for Boston United under Ian Culverhouse. That is where Norwich City spotted him initially. He only joined the club from Notts County 6 months ago. He barely kicked a ball in League Two, let alone in the Championship. To be 6 months into his journey here, to be starting Championship games, and what I like about him is that ability that he's just been dropped in and he's kind of gone, yeah, okay, then fine, I'll do it and I'll play. And that freedom that he's had has been excellent, and really, yeah, really, really good to see him start. And I think it's good for Norwich's story as well that you've got players like him who, people talk about maybe why Norwich don't go down the leagues and recruit. Well, they've done that here, and to be in a situation where both of their starting fullbacks have played in non-league in the last 2 years, I think that's incredible. And the biggest sort of thing you can say to him today is he didn't look out of place. So he was very good. I thought there were other really good performances as well. Jack Stacey, I thought he came on at half time. I thought he added a real mobility and real impetus into Norwich City's team. We've spoken about Sienats, clearly Josh Sargent and the difference he makes. I can imagine it would have been really tempting to leave him on, but you see the difference that it gives Norwich when they create those opportunities, when they work those openings, the space that he creates, the way that he moves and manoeuvres himself into really good positions, the way he holds the ball up. He is, for me, the best all-round striker in the Championship. And I think today was a good window into why. And if he can come back and really inject some goal threat and some presence and some mobility into this Norwich City team, then I've no doubt that their attack is has the potential to be really exciting, particularly with Borja Sainz to throw back into this, with Matej Jurasek as well when he's available to play next month. That feels like a mouth-watering front three if Norwich City can get it going, particularly given the run of fixtures that they've got. It's been a tough week, and I think you could see visibly the toll that it's taken on that very small group of players. They looked tired. Some of their decision making was poor. It wasn't a perfect performance by any means. So to win a game in the way that they did, and to find the gears that they did, find the moments of quality that they needed to win this game, and maybe just put people at ease a little bit after what had been a difficult week. And I'm going to be honest, I felt there was a little bit of an overreaction to defeats to Sheffield United and Leeds. I didn't think they played that badly at Sheffield United, to be honest, barring the attacking element of it. Leeds is the toughest assignment in the Championship. I think they'll win the league, and I'm not even that convinced it will be that close in the end. This now is really where we'll learn a lot about Norwich City, this run of games and what they can produce. 6 of the 9 starting today here. They've got a real opportunity to at least apply some pressure onto the top 6, if not to really make a run for it and make a dart for it. Particularly, as I came up here, the results were looking okay in terms of Norwich City. They might have all changed in the 17 minutes or so that I've been speaking, or when you eventually watch this. So it's all to play for. And Norwich City go to Watford next week. Hopefully, we now have a whole week. Hopefully, maybe getting some other options back and ready to maybe use this as a little bit of fire to kick them on, because often it's the tough moments. It's when you've sort of fought your way through adversity. That's when you build confidence, you develop a little bit. And Norwich haven't been at their best today, and we're talking about a 5-1 win, so that's not a bad position to be in. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, be at Vicarage Road next week. Looking forward to that one. We'll have plenty more analysis and reaction from this game across our channels across the weekend. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I've no doubt that you will. I'll see you soon.